Hello gorgeous peeps, this is Chris from TechSpert and I'm here with a fresh new Huawei P40 Pro, a 6.6 inch flagship beast, where you get some seriously stacked hardware, including a fresh new quad lens camera. You get that beefy Kirin 990 chipset in there with full 5G support of course, and some serious battery tech as well to keep you going all day and then get you powered up in no time at all. But that's more than enough for me banging on. Let's actually pull it out of its box and show off that slick new design work as well, and take a bit of a tour of the rest of the hardware and the software too. And for all the latest greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! First up, let's see what you actually get inside the box. You've got your pokey pin device, and it looks like you've actually got a bundled condom case in there as well. So just a nice cheap simple affair just to help keep your new P40 Pro looking pristine. Besides that, you've got your 2-pin adapter plug. You should hopefully get a 3-pin if you order it here in the UK. You've got your Type-C USB action, and you've got a nice free bundled pair of headphones. Lovely stuff. So that is the box. Highly exciting, but now let's get on to the good stuff. So here we are, unwrapping the Huawei P40 Pro for the very first time. And first impressions, definitely spladoosh. Let's take all these nasty little stickers off so we can fully appreciate the P40 Pro's aesthetics. And there we have it, absolutely stunning. Now this of course is a shiny glass version of the P40 Pro, but you can pick it up with a matte glass finish if you like. In this shiny version it's available in 3 different hues. This is the blue version. You can also grab it in ice white or black. Definitely getting a very premium vibe from the P40 Pro so far. It doesn't have as much of a gradient effect as previous Huawei flagship phones, but certainly this blue colour is very stunning indeed. Of course, I probably personally prefer a more matte finish to my smartphones so it doesn't get all smudgy fingerprints all over it. If you do want to pick it up in matte, you can grab it in either silver frost or blush gold. Pro certainly has a good heft to it as well, around the sort of 200 gram mark at an estimate, and hopefully should stand the test of time quite nicely. Normally these Huawei flagships are pretty hardy, certainly on the back end. The front end of the displays do tend to scratch up a little bit. Sadly, there's no pre-installed screen protector here on the P40 Pro, so you would want to slap your own one just to make sure it stays in good nick. You've got full IP68 water and dust resistance. There's certainly no worries if you want to take it in the shower for a crafty selfie or something. So let's open on up that SIM tray and see what we've got. It looks like basically a double-sided tray. So you've got room on one side for your SIM card, flip it around, and space there for your NM memory card, Huawei's own proprietary memory cards. So yeah, no micro SD support unfortunately. What you'll have to do is buy one of Huawei's own cards if you want to expand that storage, but luckily you do get 256 gigs as standard, so that should be plenty for most people for your media and apps. So I'm just going to stick my SIM card in there, and then hopefully we've got some gas in the tank and we can get the Huawei P40 Pro all powered up, take a tour of that hardware and software. Right, so the Huawei P40 Pro is all set up and good to go, and now that the phone is all powered up, you can see that 6.58 inch screen nice and clear. And hopefully you'll be able to make out a bit more of the design detail a bit more clearly now as well. So as you can see, the screen kind of folds over the edge of the P40 Pro just as it did on previous Huawei handsets. But now you've also got these rising corners which sort of bump up to meet the display, and that design is apparently influenced by water surface tension. Go figure. Of course, as you'll see there is a wide pinhole cutout for the dual selfie cam in that top left corner of the P40 Pro's display. So that could of course be slightly intrusive when you're watching certain video streaming services in full view mode, but the vast majority do cut off just before you get to that pinhole effort anyway. It's 2640 by 1200 pixel resolution, so everything is nice and pin sharp, as you can see there. Gorgeous for a bit of movie playback. Got nice sharp contrast on there, full customization over the color output as well, so you can set it nice and vivid, or you can have it a more natural output if you like. And if you dive on into the display settings, you can see the refresh rate can be set to either standard or high. High is 90 Hz, standard is of course 60 Hz. Sadly there's no dynamic option, so the P40 Pro can't smartly switch between the two dependent on what you're up to, but hopefully, fingers crossed, the battery life will stay strong even on that high rate. And no, there's no 120 Hz mode, but at that 90 Hz level everything certainly seems silky smooth, and hopefully there'll be plenty of app support. And speaking of app support, it is EMUI version 10.1 here, slapped on top of Android 10. I've actually got a new version which I'm just busy downloading right now, straight out of the box. But of course there's no Google services on board any of the Huawei P40 phones, just like there wasn't on board the Mate 30s before it. So that means when it comes to downloading apps, you've got the likes of the Huawei App Gallery, which you can download lots of stuff from. You've got the likes of Amazon's App Store and other third-party options as well. And I've just bunged a load of my old apps on here from my previous phone using the Phone Clone app as well. So as you can see, they've got the likes of WhatsApp, Messenger, Skype, Twitter, etc, etc. You've got full support for BBC iPlayer now as well. So if you live here in the good old UK, you can stream a good bit of BBC iPlayer content. But sadly, there's no love, of course, for the likes of Netflix and various other video streaming services such as Shudder, which I'm personally a bit of a fan of. I've been doing a lot of that in this shut-in period, certainly. And while a handful of Google apps such as Google Chrome and Maps are supported here on the P40 Pro, others like Gmail and YouTube sadly still will not work. So you will have to use the likes of Google Chrome in order to get on board with a good bit of YouTube action, or of course a third-party app. But anyway, I'll be bringing you a full in-depth Huawei P40 and P40 Pro tips and tricks guide in the next day or so stay tuned for that for an in-depth look at EMUI 10.1, all the best features stacked on there. And as is now pretty much standard for a flagship premium smartphone, you've got an in-display fingerprint sensor built into that P40 Pro's screen. It's apparently a 30% larger sensor than before, so I'm assuming that's a comparison with the P30 Pro, and it's also apparently 30% faster as well. Certainly seems pretty nippy and touchwood reliable, despite the fact that my hands are super dry and chapped with all the constant washing. And of course, you've got full face recognition support here on the Huawei P40 Pro as well, using that dual lens front facing camera. A bit of IR support in there as well, so good news if you're constantly using your phone in the dark. Let's just give that a go, give the power button a quick tap, and boom, straight into the desktops, no hanging about. Didn't even see the lock screen there. I got a bit of raise to wake support as well, so let's try that. Again, smash. No buggering about, the P40 Pro is nippy as out. You may remember that last year's P30 smartphones did not have a stereo speaker setup. That's because they don't actually have an earpiece speaker. They've done away with that, and what you get instead is an in-display vibration technology whenever you're on a phone call or whatever, and the P40 Pro uses the exact same technology. So once again, you've just got a mono speaker output. So I just boost up the volume here. Quality. And I tell you what, you see if I muffle that speaker, then that's basically your audio pretty much dead. But it's a really flat, tinny sound. It's just not very pleasant at all. But as you can hopefully hear there, even with the mono speaker output, the clarity is still super strong. The volume is brilliant on that top level, so you'll be able to clearly hear whatever you're listening to or watching, even in a noisy environment. Sadly, no headphone jack support here on the P40 Pro though. Huawei didn't decide to bring it back just like Sony did for its Xperia 1 Mark II. On the performance front, it's Huawei's 7nm Kirin 990 5G chipset, backed by a selection of RAM depending on which region you're in and which model you go for. In this P40 Pro, we've got 8 gigs of RAM, so that should keep it running very smoothly indeed. So yes, you do of course have full 5G support here. It's actually built into that Kirin 990 chipset. You can just turn it on and off with a quick tap of this icon here. And I know a lot of people still aren't really that fussed about 5G, but at least if you're going to be using the phone for the next couple of years, you'll want that bit of future proofing on board. You've also got Wi-Fi 6 support, bit Bluetooth 5.1, NFC, all the stuff that you would expect of course from a premium flagship device. As for the battery, you got a 4200 mAh cell stuffed inside the Huawei P40 Pro, and knowing how energy efficient the likes of EMUI 10 usually is, should be able to get a full day of use out of that, no problem at all, even with fairly intensive use. You've got the usual power saving modes and everything of course. When it does run out, you've got 40 watt fast charging on there, and you've also got 40 watt fast wireless charging on board as well. Pretty stunning stuff. Of course, you'll need a compatible wireless charger such as Huawei's own P40 Effort, and a good bit of wireless reverse charging if you want to charge up some accessories on the go like a pair of true wireless earbuds. All of which, fun and games, brings us onto that quad lens rear camera, packing some very fresh new hardware indeed. Now first up, as you can see there, is somewhat chunky here on the P40 Pro. That camera chassis jutting somewhat from the surface, and it is quite a boxy arrangement as well, similar to the likes of the iPhone 11 and the new Samsung phones. It's definitely not as ugly as that iPhone camera arrangement though. It looks a bit more sophisticated, basically doesn't look like it was slapped together by a 3-year-old. So let's go through each of these lenses in turn actually inside of the P40 Pro's camera app. And when you first boot up, you'll be straight into auto mode using that 50 megapixel RYYB ultra vision camera. It's an f1.9 aperture lens with built-in optical image stabilization, and apparently the sensor boasts far bigger pixels than ever before, so it should be really sensitive in low light situations and also really improve your HDR output. And so far, touchwood seems to be doing a very nice job indeed. As always, you've got the AI mode up top, which you can turn on or off depending on whether you want that bit of scene detection action on the go. And you've also got the fresh new move and picture mode, which you have to knock the AI mode off in order to enable. And that, as with other moving images and living images modes, basically just shoots a brief video snippet with every photo that you take just to bring your gallery to life as you're flipping through. Now, as well as that updated 50 megapixel primary lens, you've also got a fresh new ultra wide angle lens as well. It's a 40 megapixel f1.8 aperture snapper, and as you can see, that fits plenty of action into the frame. And third up, you've got a 12 megapixel telephoto lens which offers a 5x optical zoom, just like last year's P30 Pro. And as you can see, they're nice and steady as well, thanks to the optical image stabilization that's built into that telephoto lens. And that's also supplemented by what Huawei is terming AIS, which is basically digital image stabilization, just AI led. And if you want to get even closer into Meerkat Batman's fuzzy chops, then we can just tap up here. And as you see, we've got a 10x hybrid zoom to get every little feature on his gorgeous little face, including that very cute little black nose of his. Now if we check out some of the other features on here, of course you've got the usual standard stuff like a bit of portrait mode action. Let's turn off the beauty shenanigans because that's always rubbish. Got a variety of effects that you can play around with here, including of course the obligatory stage lighting, nice bit of pop 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 pop. You've got your night mode as well, of course, which as per standard just stitches together a bunch of different shots in order to create a nice balanced result. Definitely good stuff. You've got your full pro controls as well if you want to play around with like the ISO levels, the white balance. You can shoot, as you can see, that up to full 50 megapixel modes if you don't want to do the pixel binning. Got the option for a nice bit of raw photo capture. You've got an autofocus assist light on. And on the subject of the autofocus, Huawei is actually using a new phase detection photo diode technology on here, so every pixel in that sensor is used to autofocus, and each pixel actually has 2 individual focus points as well. And certainly just from a quick test now, that focus seems super nippy. As you can see there, stick your hand in front, it immediately refocuses less than a second. Really swift stuff indeed. So fingers crossed, P40 Pro should be super fast and super accurate when it comes to shooting moving subjects such as annoying hyperactive children. Got a whole heap of bonus features on there as well, including even an underwater mode if you want to take some pretty pictures of some little smiley fish. I'm hoping that the P40 and the P40 Pro are going to be some of the first Huawei smartphones to really impress when it comes to the video smarts. As you can see there, you can flip between the various lenses to shoot your video nice and easy. And if we dive into the settings, a lot of people were always very sad that you could never shoot 4K resolution video at 60 frames per second on a Huawei flagship, but as you can see, that is now perfectly possible. Huzzah! And then if we swap around to the front facing camera, it's a 32 megapixel effort, as you can see there, picking me up nice and crisp and clear. You've got full portrait effects as well, so you can once again stick a bit of those on. You can, oh, I don't even know what that is, some sort of pixie effect or something, very colourful. Nice bit of hearts action. That night mode is fully supported using the front facing camera as well, so you can shoot a long exposure shot even when it's low light. Great stuff. And if we swap to video, you can actually shoot again that 4K video at up to 60 frames per second using that front facing camera. Great stuff. So I will of course be testing out the full photo chops and video chops here on the P40 Pro, and I'll let you know how that all goes. And before I forget, I did of course mention before there was a quad lens camera setup. So you've got the 50 megapixel primary lens, ultra wide angle and telephoto, and you've also got a 4th time of flight sensor there on the back of the P40 Pro as well. So right there in a nutshell is the Huawei P40 Pro. Definitely looks like some very slick new hardware indeed, some very impressive new camera upgrades. Screen looks very stunning indeed, loving the design and everything. Hopefully the performance of the battery life will be top notch as well. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. As I say, stay tuned for a full tips and tricks guide, and I'm going to be bringing you a couple more videos on the P40 Pro in the next couple of weeks as well. Please do subscribe, ding that notifications bell, and have yourselves a lovely week, people. Cheers!